This program is funded by a generous grant from the California Community Foundation.
Hi, I'm Huell Hauser. You know, there are literally thousands of small businesses here in Los Angeles, and many of those small businesses have been adversely affected by the recent riots, fires, floods, earthquakes, you name it. We've had some bad luck here in Los Angeles lately. Many of those small businesses that have been adversely affected are run and operated and owned by women. But there is a program, a newly developed program here in Los Angeles to help those women entrepreneurs get back on their feet with their businesses. And here to tell us about that new program is Sherry Davis. Sherry, tell us a little bit about what I consider to be a very innovative program that's gone into effect now.
Well, the program is called the Los Angeles Women's Entrepreneurial Fund. And it was started by a woman named Muriel Siebert, who's quite a businesswoman herself. She's the first woman to own a seat on the New York Stock Exchange. She was the first woman superintendent of banks in New York, and she's done a lot in her life to distinguish herself. And she saw what happened in Los Angeles in April of '92, and she wanted to do something. So after a lot of looking around and seeing where the need really was, she decided that it was for supporting women-owned businesses who had been affected. And she got together an advisory committee of prominent women in Los Angeles who know about economic development and know about how to help women-owned businesses. And they brought together a group of potential recipients, and one of the first was the 27th Street Bakery.
Now, before we go into the bakery, the whole idea then was to find businesses, small businesses, owned and operated and run by women.
Yes.
Who had been hurt not only by the riots, but by all of these other natural disasters that have occurred since the riots, and give them loans or other kinds of assistance to help them get boosted back up.
Yeah, and mostly because a lot of these women-owned businesses don't have access to capital. They don't have the ability to get traditional types of financing from a bank or from a line of credit or whatever. So she's really trying to get businesses established to the point where they can grow and then go out and possibly get a bank loan at some point. And we're just starting to try to identify earthquake victims whose businesses were affected by the earthquake.
Now the fund is called?
The Los Angeles Women's Entrepreneurial Fund.
Okay, and so far you have helped how many businesses?
23.
Okay, and we are out in front of one of those businesses. We're on the corner of Central and 27th. And we're in front of the 27th Street Bakery. They specialize in sweet potato pies. So we're in for a real treat, and we're getting ready to go in now. Come on with us. We're going to go in and meet the owners. This is a family business.
It is.
Okay, here we go.
Huell, I'd like to introduce you to the owner of the 27th Street Bakery. This is Alberta Craven.
Hello, Alberta. How are you doing?
She's the daughter of the original founder of the bakery. And these are her children, Gregory Spann and Jeanette Bolden.
Good morning. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Now, this is the family that runs the sweet potato pie place. How did this get started in your family?
Yeah, it was started by my father about 30, 40 years ago, Mr. Harry Patterson, and my mother, Sadie Patterson.
So your mother was an equal partner in this thing from the very beginning?
Yes,
And how did they come up with the idea of sweet potato pies?
My mother decided that she started making sweet potatoes in her home. And then from there on, they came into the restaurant to start with sweet potato pies.
And it worked from the very beginning?
Yes,
So
it
there's still a big market for sweet potato pie?
Right. The stores, the barbecue places, 7-Eleven, yes, Smart and Final.
Now, you're working with your two kids. How do you all split up the area of responsibility here every day?
It's pretty simple. Gregory, my oldest brother, is in charge of production, and he does everything to produce the pie. And my mother is in charge of distributing the pie. She takes care of every single aspect of getting the pie sold to customers.
And what do you do?
And I'm the trouble.
Of our operation.
She's the overseer.
She's the
I'm the
overseer and the
troubleshooter.
coordinator.
I take care of trouble clients from time to time. Trouble clients from time to time. And I kind of take care of the projects that my mother and Gregory are pretty busy with. And I'm the troubleshooter. I get on them and I take care of quality control.
Is she a pretty tough overseer?
Well, she have to consider I'm the oldest one of the child, so she consider it at times.
You proud of the way she's overseeing everything?
Yes, I am. She gets right on in there.
Because I understand, a little bird told me that you also are an Olympic gold medal winner in track.
Yes, I won a gold medal in 1984 Olympic Games here in Los Angeles in the 400-meter relay, and now I'm the women's head coach at UCLA. So I kind of run. Yes, I run down here when I can and take care of them. And Greggy calls me on the phone, and I troubleshoot on Saturdays.
So instead of just track and field, you're also involved in the sweet potato pies. That's a very interesting combination.
I can run to customers pretty quickly.
Now, Gregory is in charge of production.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you make the sweet potato pies? Because it's 10 o'clock in the morning here, and the ovens are busy, but you told us we're a little late to get the whole production process.
Well, the concept that we use on our production or manufacturing the product is we clean our sweet potatoes.
And we have a sweet potato right here. Now this is what you start with.
We start with a raw sweet potato. We clean them. We go through a boiling process, and when we boil our yams, we boil at least about 180 pounds of yams in one period of our boiling time.
Now all of this peeling and boiling goes on all through the night, right? Starting about 9 o'clock at night.
9 o'clock at night. It's about a 6 to 8 hour period of boiling process. And each time we boil and complete that stage of boiling, we hand peel the skin off the yams so we can get to the raw yam itself, because that is basically the flavor of the sweet potato.
So this is done the old-fashioned way.
Correct. One of the concepts that we use that kept us in business such a long time, or kept the longevity of the business, is we work with raw yams. We don't use canned processed yams. So therefore, we take the whole vitamin process and texture and flavor of a yam itself.
Now when he gets through boiling these things, then we go into the next process. And I've had to talk a good talk here today, even for them to allow us to see what goes on next. Can you show us the room where that happens?
Okay. Where we're going now is my mixing room.
The mixing room.
This is where I do my creative work at.
Okay, now, what is so special about the mixing room?
This particular mixer is a Hobart 140 mixer. And when we do our mixing aspect with our raw yams, we're mixing at least 120 to 125 pounds of yams.
And you're putting secret ingredients in there, too.
Correct.
Your competition doesn't know how you make these sweet potato pies.
Correct. What we do is we put our raw yams in, then we put our ingredients, and then we formulate our time structure, and we have a texture mix.
Now, your mother told me that under normal circumstances, now stay in there because we're going to recreate this. What happens is this door is usually closed and locked when he's in there.
We lock the door, no one comes in, and
he can't get out.
He can't get out until he finishes. We knock on the door if we have anything to talk to. He's in there to concentrate on his mix.
And to keep the competition from getting in to find out what he's putting in there, right?
Right.
I feel like I'm in Fort Knox when I'm here. Okay, Gregory, you can come out now. This was just a test.
God.
But that's amazing.
The concept of Fort Knox is true, Hugh, because with the stages that we go through with our recipes, our competitors will love to know.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to tell. Let's get back out here. Sherry, you're way over in the corner. You can come out with us too, because now we're down to the pies themselves.
Right.
Let's stand over here and take a look at them because they're coming right off and they're looking great. Is it hard for a family business, for an entrepreneur like yourself, to stay in business these days in LA?
No, because I have the help of my children, and each one knows what they have to do. So it makes it pretty simple.
Correct. Now let's talk a little bit about this loan, because that's why we're here. You got this loan to help you make it through the rough times right after the riots. How did the riots affect your business?
The majority of our customers was burned out. So Meryl Siebert, she came in and helped out, so we were able to buy ovens and then get back on our feet.
So in other words, you weren't directly, your place of business was not affected, but your customers' places of business were affected.
That's right.
That's something I'd never really thought of before.
Well, I think a lot of people probably saw a lot of direct effect on a lot of different buildings during the riot, but people that delivered to those people, you know, fast food places, swap meets, pharmacies, they were also suffering. So no, we didn't have a direct effect, but we were heavily impacted because of the indirect effect. I mean, we lost over 25% of our customers.
How many?
Over 25%
Really?
of our customer base, yes.
Well, you got the loan and everything, you're back on your feet. There are the pies right now being turned out, and it's a real success story. And the name of the company again is?
27th Street Bakery.
27th Street Bakery. And could you stand together right here? We'll just get a shot of everybody standing there. Gregory? We want to get a shot of Gregory still turning out the pies. Let's let you hold one of these. Oh, they're hot.
Sorry about that.
There we go, from start to finish. And there's the family.
This is the startup product, a raw yam, and this is the finished product.
And there's the family right there that makes it all work, continuing a proud tradition right here in Los Angeles. Well, now we've moved over into East LA. We're on the 1600 block of 4th Street, right over the bridge coming from downtown. And this is our second little business we're visiting. And why are we here, Sherry?
Well, this is an interesting story. Maria Escobedo had a shop at 51st and Western, and it was burned out. And the loan allowed her to relocate to this shop, Mari's Salon de Belleza.
Okay, this is, I assume this is a beauty shop.
This is Beauty Salon.
What does Salon de Belleza mean?
Just Beauty Salon.
Beauty salon.
Yes, and we're here to see Mary and her family.
Okay, so Mary owns this little business, and we're going to go in and hear her story. Hello.
Huel, I'd like you to meet the owner of Mary's Beauty Salon, Maria Escobedo. And
Hello.
this is her son, David, and her daughter, Juanita.
Hello, Juanita. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
I'm going to be talking with David because your mother doesn't speak English very well, does she?
She doesn't.
So you're going to be kind of the translator and interpreter here today. Could you tell us the story about your family, particularly your mother and her little business that she runs here in Los Angeles?
Sure. We came here from Mexico City time ago, and
How long ago?
about 10 years ago. And the idea was different, not to start a beauty salon here or this kind of a business. We have another idea to come in here. But then as time moved on, the business that we were supposed to have didn't result as well as it should be.
Didn't work out very well.
Didn't work out. But in Mexico, she was a beautician already. So she said, why don't give it a try in here? But in here, you know, you need a lot of tests, time, and she went for it.
So she had to go to beauty school here to get her license and pass the test and all of that in order to open up her little shop.
Yes.
Okay.
And she was trying very hard on those days because those days she was the only person able to work because she was the only one with the papers and, you know.
And you and your sister were going to school.
Yes. Back in those days, we were in school. Now we are working and trying to help the family, right? But in those days, it was very hard for her.
Okay, now she got her license and she opened up her little shop, and then came the riots. And what happened during the riots to your mom's little shop?
The beauty salon burned down. and everything we have in the beauty salon, we were also living on that building, one of the apartments on the top.
Well, so you were living above the shop, and it burned too.
It burned too. So my home and and our business was burned down.
Wow.
So we were left off with nothing.
Now, how did that affect your mother? How did she react to losing everything?
She was really depressed. She wants to go back to Mexico in those days. My whole family, my father, my sisters, and she was very depressed. But something was telling us to stay. I mean, the government has to do something about it. And I told her we had to stay. Let's see what's going to happen after this. And then we stayed on those days.
And you ended up getting this loan, and this, Sherry, this is, come here a minute, she's over here playing with the baby over here. How did the loan come into effect?
Well, Maria was brought to the attention of the Los Angeles Women's Entrepreneurial Fund by an organization called New Economics for Women, which predominantly assists Latinas in Los Angeles. And she was proven as a businesswoman, and she had the drive and the plan to go ahead and open up a new store. And the New Economics for Women representative convinced the rest of the advisory committee, and she got a loan.
So she got a loan to open up another little shop.
And restock her inventory.
How it all works. And could we ask your mother now how she feels, how proud she feels, or what she feels about having her own little business here?
Mamá, quiere saber cómo te sientes tú, cómo es que te ha afectado todo lo que ha pasado y lo que tú sientes al tener ahora tu propio negocio.
De principio, cuando pasaron los disturbios, pues fue algo difícil para mí, pero pues gracias a Dios que hemos podido salir adelante, nos hemos unido más como familia y gracias a la comunidad latina de mujeres que nos ayudó con préstamos de dinero para levantarnos de nuevo otra vez.
She said that at the very beginning was very hard, but thanks God that things came a little bit better as time moved on. And now our family has come very close with all that, all the problems that has been happening. And also the community for Latin women has been helping her a lot.
So we have the whole family working here together. Here's the sister over here doing manicures. It's a family deal here. Now, you don't work here all the time, do you?
I don't. I work at Domino's Pizza.
At Domino's Pizza. But things are working. We're here during the week. It's kind of a slow period. During the weekends, business picks up a lot.
Yeah, especially before Thursday and Fridays on the weekend. Most people come on the weekend because are the day that, they don't go to work. And
right.
Weekends are pretty busy.
And what's the name of the shop?
Maria's Beauty Salon.
Maria's Beauty Salon. She's smiling really big when I say that. She recognizes the name of her shop that you all have worked so hard for. And it's another success story, this time over here in East LA on 4th Street. Thank you for allowing us to come and visit with you and watch your very successful little business.
Thank you.
Now, our next adventure has brought us down here to Long Beach, and the lady we're going to visit works out of her home. And Sherry has let us know that this lady is from Laos. She is from one of the northern tribes of Laos, the Hmong tribe. And what this lady does, what she makes, is going to just blow us away when we see it, right?
I promise. It is something like you've never seen before.
Okay, and this is her own business, operated out of her home.
Huel, I'd like you to meet C. Lee, who is a Hmong needlewoman.
How are you doing?
Okay.
And this is Judy Maltese from California American Women's Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, Hugh.
Now, that's a long name, but basically your organization recommended C. Lee to get one of these loans to keep her business afloat.
That's absolutely right. We're very proud of Celie. She's a wonderful artist, and we were really happy when she got a loan. It helped her a lot.
Now, can you explain to us what it is you do? Because this is absolutely beautiful work you do.
This is the real traditional Hmong culture we use for the skirt or handbag or hat, baby carry, hanging a jacket, pillowcases,
So all of this is handmade.
Yeah.
You make every stitch in here. Now this looks kind of like, almost like an American quilt would look.
This is a very old traditional design. This is from my grandmother.
Your grandmother made this?
My grandmother, she was born in China, and she made it when we stay in the mountain.
So this is made by your grandmother. Now you would display this in a museum here in Long Beach. What could I buy if I came in to purchase something from you? I could buy the baby hat, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Something like this?
Right now, I don't have baby hat for sale. But,
Well, I don't have a baby either, but I've just...
I have to order.
What is the idea behind Seeley's little business here?
Well, Seeley's very concerned about the lost art of the Hmong needlework tradition, and so she's collecting pieces from the Hmong community. She's making pieces that are her very best work so that she can eventually start a museum, and this will not be forgotten, that other generations in the future will be able to enjoy them. She's shown at the Long Beach Museum of Art. She shows at the United Cambodian Community Gallery. She's had exhibitions at the UNICEF shop, and some of her work is on consignment there in Long Beach. And she also sells at artist markets all around this area in both Long Beach and Orange County.
Gosh, I don't know what I had expected, but this is really quite wonderful.
It is. It's just exquisite work. We're very proud of Seeley. She's sort of a treasure in Long Beach, and everyone knows her. She's famous because her work is just unbelievable, and you know, you really can't describe it. You have to see it and experience it.
Oh, when you feel this, at first it just looks like a piece of material.
Yeah, it is.
But every one of these is hand stitched. Look at this, Louis. Every one of those designs is absolutely hand stitched. A lot of work in there.
Yes, a lot of work.
But worth
a lot
it.
of times, yeah. Very be patient and quiet.
Very patient with something like this. Very beautiful. Is this an art that is being lost? Are any of the young people here doing this these days?
We lost a lot of things, like we lost needle, we lost the Hmong language, and we lost the Laos language. We lost Hmong dance, Hmong culture. I too much worry about right now the young children. We lost everything. And
well, you're doing your part to keep it alive.
My children, they ask me, Mom, you don't sew anymore. You cannot make money, 30 cents per hour. You go to work maybe $4 per hour. It's much better for you. But I told my children, the needle is my favorite. When I go to study, I have headache right away and I sleep right away. And I don't want to watch TV or play something. When I have time, I have to sew my needle. Make me feel better and happy. Like American people, when they have time, they go to play the baseball or something like that. But myself, when I have free time, I want to sew. I don't care about the money. Make me feel better.
Well, thank goodness you are sewing and keeping that alive, because what you're doing is quite remarkable. Congratulations. It was a delight to meet you. What a wonderful experience this has been.
Thank you, Hugh.
This has just been wonderful. Well, we're ending up here in Long Beach at the Mary Butler School, which is a magnet school, and why have you brought us here?
Well, Nancy O'Rourke is one of our loan recipients, and she has a sound production company, and she has set up one of her sound systems for a production that the students here are going to be putting on.
I see. So the lady we're meeting, the last business owner we're meeting, has a sound production system.
Yes.
And this must be the lady right
This
here.
is Huel. This is Nancy O'Rourke of Mr. Cat Productions.
Hi, Nancy.
Nice
How are
to
you
meet
doing?
you. Very glad to meet you.
Well, we're standing here in front of all this equipment. This is what your company does. Can you explain a little bit about it to us?
Well, what it does is it's a sound reinforcement company, and anytime anybody needs to be amplified, and a situation like this is ideal. We do a lot of work here at the school, at Mary Butler School. It's a performing arts magnet. And so for an instance like this, for people to hear in the back, you just set everything up and crank it up. And this is a smaller system. It's a 16-channel board system. We use Apogee speakers, so they're all processor-based. And
how did you decide to go into the business of doing sound systems?
I like it. Well, I started as a voiceover artist and a professional vocalist. So you're around it a lot, and you see things, and you hear things, and you get intrigued by it, and it becomes fascinating. And then we realize that there's a real need for the size company that we are.
How do you get your business?
We started with cold calls.
Really?
It was great.
Just going around asking people if they need to be amplified.
Well, now, fortunately, we're building up something of a reputation where we'll get phone calls.
So the name of your company is Mr. Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hard to start up a little company like this and keep it going?
It can be. We've been very blessed and fortunate, and we've developed co-op situations and relationships with companies. We'll promote them in exchange for use of new equipment sometimes. We've been real creative in that way.
So you have to be innovative and creative.
You do. You have
it's
to
a
want
tough
it.
world out there,
Yes,
isn't it?
It is. Definitely.
And this loan you got has helped you?
It has really helped. What Muriel Siebert had done by instituting the philanthropic plan that she set up for entrepreneurs, what was really wonderful about it is at a time when it's important for someone, she's the first woman to hold a seat on the New York Stock Exchange. She matters, she counts, she's in there, she's doing things. And for her to notice a company out here that was having some trouble, we lost some equipment and a lot of contracts during the unrest. And that was our main loss, was a great deal of contracts with no notice. We were under curfew for a week, very unexpected. And so to have someone like that step in and really give the assistance that was needed to get back on track, back on their feet. And it was the moral support as well as the financial. It was a dual thing. It was knowing that someone was a mentor, someone cared, and whether you sunk or swim mattered. And when you're a smaller company, just knowing that is a critical thing. So I owe a lot to Muriel for that.
Well, let's get around here, Louie, and look at this equipment, because here's a lady who's definitely swimming and not sinking. And you've stuck in there.
Tried.
You're making it.
Thank you.
And you're a perfect kind of upbeat way for us to end this program. We've visited with 3 other women who have businesses that are struggling and making it. And you're struggling and making it. Sherry, come over here.
Fight it out. You just fight
Thank
it
you
out.
very much for taking us around and introducing us to these ladies.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
It's really a success story. It's something that's very, there's a lot of optimism around now, and due in large part to what you all are doing with these loans and helping people get back on their feet.
Well, it's really great to see companies like Mr. Cat Productions who are now bigger and better than when we were able to first give them a loan, and it looks like now Nancy might even be getting a loan from a bank, and that's really saying something.
Now, as a woman running this company, why isn't it Ms. Cat?
Because Mr. Cat was just a great design. Not only that, there is a Mr. Cat. There is a Mr. Cat. And but the reason we chose that is that most companies go with odd vid mac tel. They're very industrial, and we want to be known as a more creative company that will do programming, we'll do coordination for events. We do a variety of things. So we want people to go, why Mr. Cat? It's a great question. So.
Well, I'm glad I asked it.
Thank you. I'm glad you asked too.
Okay, we're going to end the program by having, what group is this back here?
This is the Performing Arts program. This is their recruiting team, and Director Jim Thomas, Judy McKecken is the principal here at Mary Butler School. And Jim Thomas has gotten the kids, they go out from school to school and attract other students to come here.
Okay.
Because it's a grant-funded, wonderful program. And
so our credits for this program will be listening to this group from the school here perform Amplified by Mr. Cat.
Roaming through the wild like a, we do what we got to, even if we're not to, like a choo-choo-child, like a choo-choo-child, yeah!
This program is funded by a generous grant from the California Community Foundation.